Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Thursday, Donktober 15th, 2020. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr., and joining me is twitch.tv/SanchoWest.
What up, everybody? Thank you so much for having me. Yes.
Yeah.
Yo, I've been told, hold up, I don't want to get too far into this, that you are the king of Halloween, or are we going with the prince? I don't know. What do you want to be?
I mean, I have multiple titles. I've been called
Yes.
king. I've been called prince. I've been called the Duke of Halloween. I've been called the only Halloween fan at Kind of Funny. I take a lot of different titles. You can just call me king though. I'll take king.
Ooh, I like that. There's so much pressure to be the king of Halloween, and no doubt there's no other competition out there in the Kind of Funny. I feel that King Halloween.
Yeah. I mean, it's the thing of when I first joined Kind of Funny, that was one of the questions I had for the crew is, hey, is this a Halloween company? Do we celebrate Halloween? Do we take the holiday seriously? And the answer I got back from folks like Andy and folks like Barrett was, hey, we've acknowledged Halloween in the past. We never really took the time to really celebrate. There's not really been a Halloween person at Kind of Funny, and so that kind of swayed my choice to join the company. I was kind of thinking, well, if they don't take it seriously, should I join? Should I not? But then I realized, I can join and I can bring the Halloween spirit, and so that's exactly what I'm doing today, SanchoWest. Bring the Halloween spirit.
I feel the Halloween spirit. Yes, I feel it.
Sancho, for people who may not be aware, who are you? Pitch yourself.
Sure. Elevator pitch. I am a content creator on Twitch and been video gaming since I was born, essentially. But currently, right now, I am a caster for Twitch Rivals for Fortnite, for the official tournament, their competitive scene. So you play with your friends and whatnot. There is a scene out there that is super, super crazy and super intense. And it feels great. It's essentially I'm a sportscaster for all that. And I've been doing that for about a year. 2020 has been crazy chaotic for me. And as a Kind of Funny best friend, I've been a Kind of Funny best friend forever. Since when they've been in a closet. Literally, that was my first joining into the Kind of Funny family. And Greg has been so kind to me throughout the years, been giving me advice. You guys are Kind of Funny best friends, have been so nice to me throughout the years, and all the fellas out there, and Joey as well, have been so generous. And it's been kind of crazy. I remember the first time I was on the Kind of Funny Games Daily as a correspondent, the first correspondent, and I was so hyped, and I came out the gate, guns blazing, talking about Uncharted Lost Legacy when I got that first look at that. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that experience, and how when approaching these kinds of things, and in terms of it's more laid back. It's not like news correspondent type of vibe. But no, dude, it's been really cool. It's been a really good journey, and I have a wife and I have a kid, and it's hard to be a gamer dad these days. But hey, man, you'll find the time to squeeze it in.
For sure. Sancho, it's awesome having you here. I've known you as a Kind of Funny best friend, I feel like, forever. And it's been one of those things where I feel like I always see you from across the water or across the pond or whatever. And I'm like, man, SanchoWest is over there doing his thing. And I've seen the meteoric rise of SanchoWest because even though you're a Kind of Funny best friend, you're also killing it on Twitch. You're also killing it on Twitch Rivals. I was watching you stream Fortnite the other day, and you have an audience behind you, you have a community behind you, and you're doing such a great job doing what it is that you do. And so shout out to you. I'm glad that we finally get to actually make content together, because we've never really gotten to do this. I think we did. I think we were on Among Us very briefly when you played earlier in the week, but this is our first time, I think, actually making content together, and I'm very excited about it. So welcome.
Thank you. It's wild, man. I wish I was in San Francisco, of course. I mean, due to the things, I'm glad I'm here regardless. But one thing I want to point out, though, is for the people that, who are wondering, who's this guy and what do they do? Us too, we built content to get us where we are, and we grinded our butts off to get to where we are. So that is what's, I hope, for the people out there who hasn't started yet, just start making stuff. You never know where it goes.
Exactly. Well, let's get into some of that content. Today's stories include the PS5 UI finally being revealed, the Xbox launch lineup finally being revealed, and more, because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kind of Funny Games Daily. To be a part of the show, at the patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where bronze members or above get to write in, and silver members or above get the show ad-free with the exclusive daily post show. Housekeeping for you, the week of streams keeps getting bigger. That's right, we're doing an Untitled Goose Game Co-op stream right after Kind of Funny Games Daily today, but later on tomorrow, we've partnered with Joe Biden's campaign to debut the official Joe Biden Island in Animal Crossing New Horizons. That's happening tomorrow, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. You can join Greg as he checks out what the teams come up with in the game. And then after the Biden Island stream, me and Greg are going to be playing Ghost of Tsushima Legends. It's going to be a fun time. Of course, that's all happening on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. The fun doesn't stop there, though, because this Saturday, Donktober, continues. You can join me and Barrett as we play through the entirety of Donkey Kong 64, culminating in the finale. And a cool thing has happened, ladies and gentlemen. You know, of course, we've talked about it on PS I Love You and over the course of the last week. I had teeth problems. I had a toothache, went to the dentist, got my wisdom tooth removed, only one of them. Got it removed, but then that delayed Donktober. But it delayed it in a good way because we had 4 episodes of Donktober planned for Saturdays in Donktober. There are 5 Saturdays in Donktober. And so what that did was delay the last episode into Halloween Saturday. Ooh. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce that the series finale of Donktober this month is now dubbed Donkoween. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's an exciting time of the year. We're here, baby. Donkoween is happening. It's official.
Donkoween is going to be the craziest day ever because, of course, you're such a big fan of you're the biggest fan of Halloween. You're such a big fan of Donkey Kong 64.
Of course.
Nothing could be more of a blessing at AOA Junior Day than Donkoween. It's going to be very exciting.
And I'm very excited about it. Tune in. Will shenanigans ensue? We'll have to see.
Who knows?
I gotta say, fellas, you two are kind of linked to my family now. You know, my kid, like I said, she's barely 3. I said one day, I go, it is time. And I pulled out the Nintendo Switch. I fired up the Super Nintendo emulator in that bad boy.
Yeah, you did.
I put in Donkey Kong Country because she likes big old monkeys and whatnot and apes.
Yeah, you did.
And she was like, oh, look, it's a big monkey. And I was like, it's an ape, but it's just fine. And she was like, oh, get the crocodile. So what I did is I control the movement and she controls the jumps, and we're connecting bananas and we're advancing through levels, and she's meeting all the favorite characters of Donkey Kong thanks to you two.
That's what Donktober is all about. Like, I've gotten so many tweets, people being like, oh yeah, I booted up Donkey Kong Country. Oh yeah, I booted up this, I booted up that. And that's what this season is about. This is the best time of the year. October, Donktober, Halloween, Donkoween. It's all going down. Of course, you can catch it Saturday at 12 noon Pacific time on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Tom Bock, Mohammed Mohammed, and Blackjack. Today we're brought to you by Upstart, Doordash, and Bespoke Post, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Rope Report. It's time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Starting with a huge number 1, the PlayStation 5 UI has finally been revealed. I'm reading directly from Shem Gartenberg at The Verge, and it's a large write-up, but it's all necessary information. We got an 11-minute video from PlayStation, and they kind of broke down the different elements of it. And The Verge did a great job of condensing it all down into one article. Sony just revealed one of the final big questions about the upcoming PlayStation 5, what the user interface looks like. A lengthy new walkthrough shows off what it'll look like to actually use the upcoming console when it launches on November 12th. The new UI is a big change for Sony, offering a complete overhaul of the rather Spartan menus that the PS4 offered. Similar to the PS4, Sony will offer a row of installed or available games or streaming apps in a separate tab that shows off the various games, each with its own hub. Scrolling down with that game hub will show more specific activities and game modes that can be launched directly from the home screen, along with other news and clips from the title. Sony says some backwards compatible PS4 games will offer similar functionality also. Sony is also experimenting with an Explore menu that shows off official news from Sony and developers, along with trending videos and gameplay clips, although it says that it's still testing the feature and that not all users may have access to it at launch. There's a new Control Center menu, accessed at any time by pressing the PlayStation button, which gives players access to a wide array of system tools like seeing notifications, which friends are online, controlling music, managing settings for the console and controller, and seeing the status of downloads. There's also a new series of cards, a key part of the user interface that serves as a sort of ongoing feed of news about games, recent achievements, or screenshots, and more. Also, in the row of cards are new activities, individual cards that link out to specific levels or gameplay modes within a game. Selecting an activity will give an overview of that level, including a personalized estimate of how much time the PS5 thinks it will take you to finish the level and any objects you have yet to accomplish. Some games and objectives will also include official game help for PlayStation Plus subscribers, which will show helpful videos and hints for the specific objective directly within the game. Some cards will even support a picture-in-picture mode or split-screen view to help players see the hints side by side. Sony is also expanding how parties will work on the PS5. Players can now share their screens with other members of their party and even pin those separate gameplay streams alongside their own. Parties are also meant to serve as more persistent gameplay groups instead of one-off voice chat channels. Lastly, the PlayStation Store has also been directly integrated into the overall software instead of a separate application, making it easier to find new games and apps to purchase and download on the PlayStation 5. Sancho, did you get the chance to check out the PlayStation 5 UI reveal?
I did. I took a look at it, but early in the morning in bed, and I was like, what's going on Twitter? Everyone's blowing up about the UI. In fact, everyone thought it would be on Burger King. But anyway, I digress. The whole point for me, I think the UI... the first thought that popped into mind, Blessing, was like, man, what happened to the days of just being surprised? You know what I mean? Like, what happened to days of not knowing what the startup sound's going to be? I just feel like the race for content is crazy. And that everybody out there, even now PlayStation, is understanding what the people want. People like seeing this content. But for some reason, like because again, I've been playing since the NES days and then seeing all the different console launches. And there's always that special moment of just hitting the button and then just seeing the UI for the first time. So seeing it here, I know they didn't show everything, but I kind of bummed me out a little bit. Kind of remind me of the days of all the digital, cases and whatnot. When you open up a game for the first time, now you just get one sheet. You never get the whole, manual.
I want the packet that gives us like the extra details on the stories and the weird side characters. I miss those days.
So the whole point for me, Blessing, when it comes to this UI is like it has to not be. It can't be bad in the sense because that's the only time when people talk about it. If it just does its thing and it just sits in the background and you don't think about it, like the workflows and going through and all that stuff, then it's a good UI. But everybody on the internet, from what I was seeing, was like wanting it to be something better. And I'm like, well, I don't know if you want anything more complex or anything like that. You just want it to work without anyone noticing it. Am I right?
I'm with you. And I think honestly, when I look at the UI reveal and I look at how it looks and how it functions and all that stuff, I've had such a mixed reaction to it because I think in terms of how it presents and how it moves and all that stuff, I think it's great. I think it looks visually better than the PS4 UI. I think, from what we've seen here, it seems quicker. It seems more fluid, and I'm sure the SSD is probably going to add to that in terms of how when I use my PS4 now, right? Like a lot of the times things can get stuttery, things can get slow, things can load in, and that's not necessarily what I want from menus. And so like all that stuff seems better here. I like how it looks visually. When it comes down to the features they showed, nothing seems bad by any means. Like there wasn't any bad news here. But I will say that a lot of the features were kind of underwhelming to me. Like when they get into cards and stuff, that's where I was like, all right, I see where you're going here. None of this really speaks to me in a way that I think I'm actually going to use. Like I think the idea of game help is awesome. Like that's really cool. For people that are going to use that. I don't know when I'm going to use that. Like I probably prefer to like look up my own game guides if I really wanted to look them up.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, Blessing, you got to think about it. It's like that kind of cuts off the I guess the YouTube, the content creators out there that make those kind of things, like the PlayStation trophy guides, all those kinds of things. You have to take a step back and be like, how would that affect that culture, that biosphere of everybody working like that? Because that's what content creating to me is all about. When everybody asks me like, where do I start in content creating? It's like, look for the holes where no one is doing this kind of content and then fill it. And then you'll gather an audience around that needs that content. But for me, what I see that if I wanted to look into the Terminator future is that going to cut down all of those kinds of content? But at the same time, when you ask like, how is game helpful to me? For me, I kind of see that like if I picked up a game, like for example, I picked up Horizon Zero Dawn, and I haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn in forever. And I know that when you first jump back in, especially in an open world game in sandbox type games, you're sitting like, all right, what did I do last? Where am I? And what do I need to do? So I kind of see, I like that. Really quickly, boom, it's in game. I could see exactly where I am. I could hit up a friend and be like, hey man, I'm stuck in this level. Let me show you exactly where I am. But I think for this UI to be flawlessly awesome as it's being presented, I think you're going to have a strong internet connection, and it's going to rely on the SSD being at a prime working. And you know how it goes. Hard drives, they tend to I guess, go down in quality as time goes on. So I don't know, man. Like I said, it didn't have any like glaring like, ugh, you know what I mean? And I think the UI needs to just be like it needs to be like an Alfred because I'm watching the Batman review. It needs to be like an Alfred where he doesn't just stand out. You know, he's just be in the shadows, be cool, do your thing, let the Batman and the Robins of the video game world do their vibe, and just kind of just sit back and don't be a glaring bad point in, because like the Xbox One, yikes, that one was bad. Oh, you don't like the Xbox One? No, not the one at launch. I mean, that's when they wanted. The one at launch, like the one they want that. Remember when they revealed that one? Everyone was like, "What is this?" Like, yes. They wanted to be the multi-complex of the hub of your room, and they leaned into that, and that is when all the gamers are like, "Well, what?" So. I got a question here from Brittney Taylor, who wrote into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, kind of gives their own feedback on how they feel about UI that I think is interesting. Okay. Brittney Taylor writes in and says, "Today is the day, and the king has delivered on his promise of a Whopper-sized announcement for this morning. Like my question, of course, is simple. What are your thoughts on the PS5 UI reveal? As a mom and a full-time worker who is a mostly physical game owner, I want to give a little perspective on my favorite things on both the Xbox Series X and PS5 system side features. A little background. I own PS4s and sold my Xbox One early on. I'm purchasing both the Xbox Series X and the PS5. I love Quick Resume and was really hoping to have that feature on the PS5 until today. With the fact that I'm mostly physical and with how fast that SSD seems to be starting games, I have to say my favorite feature is activities in the cards because they give you an idea of how long it takes to complete each one. However, with me not having any exclusives I'm looking forward to or any backwards compatible games, I'll be using Game Pass and therefore will get the full benefit of Quick Resume with those digital titles. I've never had a situation at a launch where both platforms appear to be trying something different that both speak to me on such different levels. Man, video games are cool. And like, to me, that's an example of, there are a lot of features they showed off with the PS5 UI that I look at and I'm like, I am probably never going to use that. Like the cards, especially, I'm just like, all right, I'm sure I'll be able to customize those in a way where the ones that I use are the ones that I could put to the left or put to the most front, because in the video, I think when they pulled it up, the first cards you saw were ones where I was like, I'm never gonna use that, never gonna use that, never gonna use that. Yeah. Right. But maybe I'll use the trophies one. Maybe I'll use the one that shows me how long it takes for me to complete an activity. Who knows? But yeah, like Brittney here is saying, you know, for her, having some of these cards there, you know, it's going to be awesome, right? In terms of knowing how much time you have left, or even like Quick Resume as a feature, right? That's less a UI thing, but as a system feature, it's going to work for them, you know, really awesome. Like, I think that's pretty cool. Really quick, something that I know people were picking up on at the very end, and I know they didn't really do like an answer to Quick Resume today, but when they went in, when you go into rest mode, it says here, charge controllers, download updates, and suspend your games. Don't unplug the AC power cord while in rest mode. So it seems that like you can have multiple games going at once, maybe. I assume that's a feature. Yeah. And like they have they not specified the Quick Resume is like or not Quick Resume specifically, because they're not going to call it that, but basically multiple suspended games is a feature, kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Because that's the thing I've always just assumed is going to be the case with PlayStation, given that it's the case with Xbox, and given that both of them are working off of the SSDs that are going to allow them to do that. And what I also want to know, Blessing, is will the PlayStation unit yell at you for every time where you accidentally power it down? I never felt so guilty in my life when I accidentally shut down my PlayStation 4 and then I get met with so much anger and disgust and the fear that I lost everything on my console when I boot it back up again. It's like, you didn't properly shut it down. And so
when it boots back up in like that low resolution mode and you see the loading bar and it's like, oh fuck, what did I do?
And to specify here, people were asking like, oh, can't you suspend games on PS4? Yeah, but it's only one game that's running. We're specifically looking at the grammar here and suspend your games, like the plural being the ultimate word there of like, can you have multiple games running at the same time? You
got to
and suspend multiple of them at once when going into rest mode. Suspending things isn't a new thing from PS4 to PS5, but maybe doing multiple games now is a new thing.
I got to give a shout out to Brittney though, because she says the most important statement is that both Xbox and PlayStation are doing cool things at launch. I feel like the PlayStation's 4 launch was very underwhelming in terms of what games were available. I remember when that thing first launched, only had Resogun, and that's it. And you couldn't really do much with the console. I remember still playing PlayStation 3 for the longest time until PlayStation 4 finally started catching up. And it feels like both competitors understand that this is another front in their quote unquote war. And I always dislike console wars in general. I'm always the kind of gamer that's like, you know what, whatever floats your boat, that's cool with me. I vibe with both. They're both phenomenal. They both have their audiences and they both cater to those audiences. But it's interesting to see that I feel that PlayStation is essentially going for its same audience in itself. It's like, hey, these are the UI. It's a little bit refined. We're a little bit more like we're stronger, beefier, we're bigger in a sense of size. But we're going to be refined in a sense of your experience is going to be great. It's not going to be anything new. It's not going to be anything too crazy. The UI is going to look very similar. But Xbox at the same time is like, hey, we're going to come out the gate and we have all this new stuff that's never been in the Xbox ecosystem. We're going to beef up the Game Pass. So I just feel like the hype around Xbox is a lot higher than the PlayStation. But as a PlayStation fan, I just feel like you still feel like, all right, things look good. There hasn't been any kind of red flags so far. Yeah, we're doing all right.
It's the difference between having security on one side with PlayStation versus having Xbox, which is trying to make moves and trying to, make up ground and trying to do dynamic things so that they can shift the market towards their way. Like, and that's kind of what has me so conflicted with this UI reveal, because despite me looking at the new features and me being like, all right, none of this really excites me. It's not like none of that is really making me go, oh, how dare they? Or like, oh, PlayStation in trouble. Like, I'm not feeling that way at all, because again, for the things that I want them to upgrade, it seems like they're upgrading. It looks better. It looks like it runs faster. It looks cleaner. Like I'm not really asking for too much aside from that, because for the most part, I'm fairly happy with my current PlayStation experience. I got a question here from MangoJR who wrote in to patreon.com. It's kind of funny games, just like you can. It says, "Good morning, friends. We finally got our first look at the PlayStation UI today. Disappointingly, not from Burger King, and I am not sure how I feel about it, especially compared to the Series X UI. There just seems to be a lot going on. With convenience and ease of access playing such a prominent role in our console of choice, what weight do you think the UI of next gen carries in that decision-making process? Also, most importantly, will themes still be a thing? Keep killing it, MangoJR." And Mango, like, to your question of what weight do you think the UI of next gen consoles carry in that decision-making process? Barely any. Like, I don't think anybody's going to look at the UI and go, that's the console that I'm going for. It could be a, death by 1,000 cuts thing where, say, if you have been, in the middle, trying to figure out where you're going to go for next gen, and you're keeping your I guess finger to the pulse, right, and understanding that, okay, cool, yeah, backwards compatibility looks awesome. Oh snap, I'm a big fan of Bethesda games. Oh man, I like how the Xbox Series X UI is shaping up. Maybe at a certain point, those dominoes start falling to a certain extent to where you are like, I'm just gonna get an Xbox. But I don't know how like big of a thing UI is in that decision making process. I think it's more so a thing of fans just wanting to know what the next 7 years of their gameplay experience is going to look like.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And it's more of like talking points. I mean, like a lot of people like to use as bullet points for this competition between Xbox and PlayStation. A lot of the people that, are in that culture like to use it against the other side. But when you're talking about all these things with UI, what seems to be that I'm thinking about it is like, at this point, Xbox and Sony are going against the people that are trying to get into games, or the factors, right? People who are like, you know what? I've been in the Sony ecosystem for a long time. I'm not happy with it. I'm running out of funds. We can't talk about how badly 2020 is hurting a lot of people, wallet wise. Maybe the Xbox is a great feature to jump into the Game Pass, so that way I could play all the games I want. I mean, those are the people that they're going for. And it kind of reminds me of, like, for the longest time, I've been an Apple fan forever. Been an Apple fanboy forever. I had the first iPhone. And now when we get to the iPhone 12, I'm like, I defunked, I defactored. I got out of that ecosystem. I went to Android. And I feel like I'm very happy with the Android and the way it does things. And yes, I do miss sometimes the sleek UI presentations. I do miss the embodiment of everything. But I do like the freedom that the Android presents that I've discovered after switching. So I think it's just a matter of, like, and we haven't even talked about if your friend has an Xbox, that means you got to have an Xbox. It's just the way it goes sometimes. But with all these multiplayers and cross-platform, cross-generational, I think that, like, conversation is out the way. And I think it's going to come down to, like you mentioned, the Bethesdas, the Sony exclusive. When will Microsoft lay down the hammer of their exclusives? And they haven't revealed everything as well either. So I just think right now that Microsoft is essentially outmaneuvering, and I'm just waiting for them to execute what they have in mind, because I think they're just kind of getting everybody ready to go. And I think right now PlayStation is just kind of just chilling. It's like, we don't, like you said, so we don't have to swing for the fences. Let's just get some singles, some doubles. We'll get some runs in eventually. We could, rely on our exclusives and our strong player base at the moment.
Yeah. We mentioned that there was no bad news in the PS5 UI reveal. And although true, there is a little bit of bad news associated with the PS5 UI reveal. Story number 2. Let's talk about PlayStation parties, because there's a lot going on. Of course, yesterday we got the PlayStation 4 version 8.0 update. And with that comes 2 very important things to talk about. And I've separated these stories by part A and part B. So I'm going to start with part A here. PS5 can record voice chats and report them to moderators. This is from Jordan Alleman at IGN. PlayStation 5 users will be able to record voice chats and send them to moderators. The news was revealed alongside the latest system software update for the PlayStation 4 version 8.0. PS4 users have been reporting seeing a notification in party chats where they are told that, quote, voice chats may be recorded for moderation, end quote. According to the PlayStation blog, this is a preemptive measure for the upcoming feature, which will launch alongside the PlayStation 5. Quote, voice chat recording for moderation is a feature that will be available on PS5 when it launches, and will enable users to record their voice chats on PS5 and submit them for moderation review, explains Sid Schumann, Senior Director at SIE Content Communications. Quote, the pop-up you're seeing on PS4 right now is to let you know that when you participate in a chat with a PS5 user post-launch, they may submit those recordings from their PS5 console to SIE, end quote. And this is one of those things where I think when you read into the details of it, I think you kind of realize it's really a big deal. But people were freaking out about this yesterday on Twitter, I saw, which it makes sense, right? Like, you log into a party, it says that they're listening, and you're like, oh, I'm in a surveillance state. I'm going to not talk in my parties anymore. But the reality of it is, like, you could be recorded before. Like, that's not really a new thing. Like, players could turn it. Well, you'd have to like check a box, but there was already the ability there for players to record you on PlayStation parties. And so there's that. Part B is where things get more interesting. All right. Okay. PS4 owners aren't happy with the new party system. This is Liam Croft at Push Square. One of the biggest changes PlayStation 4 firmware update 8.0 made earlier today was a complete overhaul of the party system. It has interlinked the messaging system with party functionality to, on the surface, make sending off numerous party invites at once a complete breeze. However, that's not how the PS4 community has taken to it. Reddit, PS4, and other Sony-focused communities are pleading with the Japanese giant to revert back to the original system, as the updated party mechanic is now presenting so many more problems than it needs to. What this update has essentially done, as far as we understand it, is introduce so many more steps to forming a party than there needs to be. Before update 8.0, you could simply start a party by opening up your friends list and popping off invites to your buddies. Now, you can only invite users via pre-formed message groups. Now, this change is fine if you have a dedicated group of people to play with, and that lineup never changes. However, The moment you veer off that path, problems start to arise. Let's say one of your friends has a buddy who wants to join the party for some Call of Duty Warzone matches. You would have to create yet another message group purely to send them an invite, when before you could simply list the party as public and they'd be able to join by themselves. Imagine having to repeat this process over and over again every single time a new player wants to join your squad. Sony has created a hassle where there wasn't one. Worse still is that private parties don't even seem to be a thing anymore. Because of this, the PS4 subreddit has been on fire for the past couple of hours, asking Sony to revert the system back to what it was. It's even tougher to test the feature properly right now. This was written yesterday for full clarity. It's tougher to test the feature properly right now anyway, because friends lists aren't loading in. Reddit user Cool Sage said, quote, "It's like it regressed from having ease of access, multiple settings, and being fast to sluggish, unappealing, and more complicated. Plus, my whole system is acting up, so there's definitely some bugs." End quote. A lot in there.
Yes.
But summed up, basically, Sony changed up parties for the new update, and it seems like they probably shouldn't have.
I mean, man, it just sounds like to me we're going to be in this weird transitional phase of just trying to figure out what to do with the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5, how to bring in those ecosystems together and mesh it into one, considering that games are going to be cross-generational as well. So, I mean, I think it's just growing pains. I feel like sometimes, you know, a developer or whatever, a dev kind of changes things a little bit, and then they realize maybe they overstepped it, or maybe, you know, something that was working with a small isolated group was working well, but now when you introduce it to the masses, things get kind of crazy and overhand, and maybe there's some things you oversight. I mean, for me, I haven't used a PlayStation 4 party in forever. I'm more like a Discord guy now, and I know, because when I do consoles, I'm sitting next to my desktop computer and I have all those access to me. But I know that for all my buddies in the PlayStation who are just hardcore PlayStation, they do have a problem with this. And I see this as well as a content creator or a streamer. If you're trying to add somebody, just to go through all that steps is bad news bears. I mean, I wish that more companies had a much more simpler way of adding people. Like I love Steam's, how they do that, the friend code and all those kinds of things. That's a really great way of just do it instantly. But I just feel like right now I like anything that everyone's just on a magnifying glass right now. Like everyone's just zoned in. There's not much going on in terms of day-to-day life here. You know, we're all quarantined in our rooms and whatnot. So any bit of news or anything changes like that, it's just going to send everybody off. But one thing on the plus side is just to really go back to story A, Blessing. As a parent, I think that's great, you know, to be able
the moderation,
to. Yeah, the moderation is fantastic. And again, it is submitted to only the moderation into PlayStation so they could review things. And I mean, I don't know about your experience, Blessing, but I mean, I've seen some of its nastiness directed towards me personally in my DMs, in my PlayStation private, like, and I wish I could record those kinds of things or report them. And that's dope that I can, because I feel like a lot of people hide behind their gamer tag and they hide behind that anonymity, and they just use it for toxicity. And I've always hated this notion of like, oh, you would never survive in a Call of Duty lobby. I've been there in those Call of Duty lobbies, and that wasn't fun, bro. Like, who says that was fun? And that's what I'm hoping, that with this new kind of thing, we weed out those people, or kind of hope that they learn, yo, man, there's somebody else on the other end of that character. You don't have to be so mean to them about it. But I don't know, man. This whole thing about the chat thing, I think it's just blown out of proportion. They'll fix it. And that's all I always think about things, is like, you could be upset about it, but don't be overly upset to the point where you just keep digging on this like on a wound. Just they'll fix it eventually.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely there in terms of I like the moderation stuff. Like in general, I obviously have a problem with like surveillance states and all that stuff, but this very much doesn't seem to be that. This very much just seem to be a way to get moderation going on the PS5 or do it in a better way, which I'm all about. Like I'm down with that, because a lot of people can be shitty on voice chats and whatnot. In terms of the PlayStation parties, again, like I'm with you in terms of, it seems like it's PS5 growing pains. Seems like they're gearing up for something. It seems like it's growing pains in a way where they probably should have thought twice about trying to grow in this way. Like maybe this is leading towards something that ends up making PlayStation parties better on the PS5. Who knows? That said, this was not the way to do it. Like changing people don't like change in general. Two, people especially don't like change when it's worse change, and this seems like worse change. As somebody who, I hate whenever I get the notification if somebody just added me to a group, because whenever I get that on PlayStation, I'm like, all right, what bullshit is about to follow, right? And usually it's somebody's messaging me some spam, or you have to create a group in order to get a message thing going. Looping in PlayStation voice parties with that, voice chat with that, I get the idea of wanting to condense it, because when it comes to the systems on your on the features on your system, the more you can condense and make different features work together in sync, cool. Like, that makes things easier, that makes things more straightforward. PlayStation parties work better than PlayStation messages. Like, people like the way that PlayStation parties work, where you can just add people in and you don't have to worry about that hassle. PlayStation messages, I never use. I don't know anybody who really uses them. I know people do use them, but not that consistently, right? Like, I haven't used PlayStation messages as much as I did, let's say, in the first half of the generation.
And they also introduced those. Remember when they introduced the PlayStation communities? I mean, I feel like now that place is just, you have so many things to take care of in social media wise in your own, and that to add another social media type community place. Like, when I built mine for my community, I just never think of it. I never think to go to check it, And
that's the thing. I believe Greg just reported about this the other day, that they're shutting down PlayStation communities, which is great. Like, we're building towards hey, let's get rid of the fat. Let's keep what works. Let's merge what works. It's just, hey, we gotta merge better. Like, let's figure out a better way to make these things play together, as opposed to keeping the bad parts of PlayStation messages and making that work with PlayStation parties, the thing that people already like.
Well, my question is, what's stopping Sony from reaching out to I know, kind of funny, / you're wrong if I'm wrong about this. Does Microsoft have an exclusive deal with Discord? I mean, I feel like Discord is slowly becoming the place to get people together for voice communications, for messages, for communities, and they have it already done, because that's what they do. So my question is, what's stopping Sony from bringing in like a TeamSpeak or something of that and integrating it into the UI, so that way it's not only, because all future platform or future games will have that cross generation or cross platform play, so that way we could play with PC players easily, or we could play with the Xbox players easily. So I don't understand. Is it just because of moderation, they want to keep everything in-house so they could moderate, they could implement anyone who has a penalty, or what I mean, like that crosses the line, they could penalize them, and you can't really penalize someone that's in the Microsoft kind of work. So I don't know. I just feel like I always feel like, for me, I always outsource. If there's something that I can't do, I suck at graphic design. I don't have an Andy Cortez in my, in my back pocket to kind of throw up something awesome, or I don't have a Nick Scarpino who could do some awesome graphic artist animation. So I just outsource it, So I don't know what's stopping PlayStation from outsourcing their communities and their messaging.
I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of it. It probably is a mixture of moderation and them just wanting to have control of their own ecosystem. I will say I would love nothing more than a Discord app, though, on PlayStation. I think that's something you can make work. I think that's something that'd be awesome for the reasons you just said, right? Like crossplay and all that stuff. The more and more that becomes ubiquitous, the more and more you're going to need features that account for that. And having a Discord app on the PlayStation, oh man, that'd be a great step. I'd be all about that. Speaking of different platforms, story number 3, the Xbox Series X full launch lineup has been revealed. I'm pulling this directly from Xbox at Xbox Wire. They write, when you power on your Xbox Series X or Xbox Series S on November 10th, you'll be greeted by the largest launch lineup in Xbox history. Games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Gears Tactics, and Tetris Effect Connected will be some of the much anticipated next-gen games you can play on day one. The Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S will launch with 30 new games playable on day one, 20 of them with smart delivery that are upgraded automatically, and thousands of backwards compatible titles across 4 generations. Looking forward to this holiday, there will be more incredible games coming to Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S before the end of the year, including Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War launching November 13th, Destiny 2 Beyond Light launching November 10th, and optimized for Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S on December 8th, and Xbox console launch exclusive The Medium on December 10th. When Cyberpunk 2077 launches on November 19th, it'll look and play best on our next-gen consoles and take advantage of smart delivery technology, giving fans the best version for whatever Xbox console you own. There is truly a game for everyone on Xbox, and we can't wait to enter the future of console gaming with you. The list of games available starting on November 10th that look and play best on Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S includes, it's a full list. I'm going to read the whole list because why not?
Hit me with it.
We got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Borderlands 3, Bright Memory 1.0, Cuisine Royale, Dead by Daylight, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Dirt 5, Enlisted, Evergate, The Falconeer, Fortnite, Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Gears Tactics, Grounded, King Oddball, Maneater, Manifold Garden, a game that you should play because that game is great, NBA 2K21, Observer, System Redux, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, also a great game, Planet Coaster, Sea of Thieves, Tetris Effect Connected, The Tourist, War Thunder, Warhammer, Watch Dogs Legion, WRC 9 FIA World Rally Championship, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and yes, Your Grace. What a launch lineup.
Yo, man, the days of Ridge Racer is gone. You know, there's nothing worse than spending $500, $600 buying those two controllers, and you literally have two games, and you're like, what am I gonna do? Like, I remember that, man. I remember buying the PlayStation 3. Granted, I had Resistance Fallen. Man, that game was dope. But yeah, what an exciting lineup. They nailed it on the head right there. I mean, you said it. They have everything for everybody. And at the same time as well, I love the cheekiness of that. This is the best place to play. Like, they're always going to throw in those little jabs in there, but there's something for everybody in there. And you always got to have your sports games. There's NBA 2K21, which actually looks great on it. You know, more sweat. What do you need in more sports games? Just more sweat and more light reflecting. Exactly. And then better hairlines, you know what I mean? But yes, so yeah, you know, it's good, man. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this lineup. A lot of people who've been in PlayStation don't understand that Xbox is ready. Xbox is going to come out the gate swinging, and you got to watch out, man. There's some fantastic multiplayer games because I'm a multiplayer guy on it. Don't sleep on Cuisine Royale. That's a game available now. It's really fun to play as a battle royale, of course. Fortnite as well, and we've seen Greg out there already testing it. So that's going to be dope. So it's kind of crazy, man.
Yeah, no, I'm all about this. And like, you know, when Halo Infinite got delayed, I did have the thing in me that was like, oh, all right, what's that launch lineup going to look like? And this generation, more so than any previous generation before, I think really proves that like the days of Ridge Racer, right? Like the days of having launch lineups that are, all right, here's your 3 games that you're gonna be playing for a few months. Like, I mean, that's over, right? And that's on both sides. I think both PlayStation and Xbox have great launch lineups that we're able to look forward to, and that is only boosted by backwards compatibility and both like Xbox Game Pass and all the games that are available there, and then also the PlayStation Plus collection, right? That's available on the PlayStation side of things. Like, you're gonna have a lot of games that you can look forward to when you jump into either of these consoles, and so we're living in very exciting times, and I'm all about it.
Oh man, all about it. I mean, and even the Nintendo Switch had a great lineup too. And what I liked about it as well is that Nintendo kind of leaned on the indie scene like hard. They leaned on it just to give everybody the chance to kind of perfect their their first party games. So I agree with, man. It was a bummer to see Halo go out of it. And I think those are the things I was talking about. You know, I think everybody is so in tune. It kind of reminds me of wrestling, right? Wrestling back in the 80s and 90s, everyone was just loving it just for it was. There was no one trying to be outsmart. No one's trying to understand what's a heel or babyface. They were just engaged with it, right? But now everybody's educated in gaming. Everybody knows about UIs. Everybody knows about, going gold and all the little minutiae of gaming. They're never really get lost in it, and they always want to have a hot take when it comes to this game's delayed because X, Y, and Z. This game's frame looks all bad. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just kind of just like shedding the critique in that. I know that's what we all do in the gaming space, most of us, and especially some of the things that Kind of Funny does. But at the same time, just hearing all these games at launch, it's incredible. Like, that's awesome. And
cool to be excited.
It's cool to be excited, and at the same time, it's like, your investment is paying off. And I think what's really smart for them is just to say, like, I'm interested to see where the smart delivery goes, because I feel in gaming in general, I feel like the internet speeds are always going to slow down what the future is going to hold. So I'm interested to see if our internet connections could hold up for what Xbox and PlayStation promises.
Story number 4, Spider-Man Miles Morales lets you use a bodega cat as a weapon. This is Julia Lee at Polygon. Barrett, I have a video for you to play for this one. A new look at Spider-Man Miles Morales from Game Informer showed off a new character that we already love, a bodega cat. The cat, also named Spider-Man, is found in a backpack hanging in a warehouse. Miles ends up returning the cat to the bodega owner, but after this, the cat dons the mask and can be used as a weapon in a fight. While knocking bad guys around, the cat can leap out of Miles' backpack and unleash a harsh swipe. Twitter was going crazy about this yesterday, and let me tell you, I was with it. I'm all about this. This is awesome. Give me the bodega cat. Let me use this cat in my combat.
Yeah, I remember Jeff Keighley was like saying he wished that he got this exclusive for this, and Game Informer actually has it. But yeah, dude, I mean, for people in New York, in that New York area, I know bodega cats are like vital. Like,
they're a thing.
They're a thing. You know, it's like a cat just chills there, and
look at this guy.
Look at him. I mean, he looks like a Garfield. I vibe with that as well. Garfield is by far the cat of my childhood. But I love that he has a little hoodie and like a beanie type of Spider-Man. I mean, I'm all for it. And you know what as well? Look how gorgeous this game is, dude. Like,
one little detail that I like is already standing out to me is like the way that Miles is swinging around compared to Peter. Like, he doesn't... Like, I'm sure he's not as refined. He's not as refined. He's not as confident with his moveset, and you can like see that like once he does like a big swing or something like that. It's really, this game is going to be
also
so
the
cool.
reflections on everything. Like, if you're a video watcher, right? Like, if you rewind back a little bit, like when he was walking into the bodega, if you just look at the reflections coming off the glass, like, look at this.
It's next gen, man. And I love how
we're here.
Yeah, I know. And how they hide this load screen in a very quick way to add character. And it's not like some long, like trekking, you know what I mean? Like a narrow hallway, like all the Uncharted. It's just a quick boom.
They know it's gonna be quick.
Right. And you're right in the cutscene and it blends in. Like, the immersion of this game is going to be phenomenal. And just the details of it. The cat looks great. It doesn't have these annoying, like, you know, textures in it. It's going to be a really dope game. And as well, like, the Puerto Rican flag in the background, the representation of it, and they're getting the culture of New York right, rather just being just this building playscape, right? It's actually filled with life, and that's what I like about it, and that's what gets me excited. Beyond just the cat itself is amazing.
Of course. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this game from like pretty much every angle, right? Like the culture of it, the story of it, Miles Morales as a character, Spider-Man. It's a mixture of pretty much everything I love in this world, and there it is.
Soundtrack.
There it is. The soundtrack. Oh my
god, dude.
And so here in the video, here's the finishing move, right? The cat gets involved, and it's awesome.
Now the cat better not get hurt though. You know, I'm not down with that. The cat can't get hurt. Maybe it gets knocked out of the backpack or something and runs away. But if I see the cat getting hurt, I'm gonna cross the line. I'm gonna cross the line. You know, I know Spider-Man doesn't kill, but that person is getting ended.
Oh no, the game's changing. It's not Spider-Man anymore. It's Spider-Wick. It's John Wick. It's John Wick. Like, I'm going on a spree if anybody touches that cat.
Exactly.
Sancho, for story number 5, I want to ask you a question, but before I do, I want to let the people know about our sponsors. Of course, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames where you can get the show ad-free. And speaking of ads, this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily is brought to you by Upstart. During these economically turbulent times, everyone is looking for a way to feel more financially secure. So if you're still needlessly throwing money every month at high-interest credit card debt, it's time you checked out Upstart, the revolutionary online lending platform that knows you're more than just a credit score. Now is the time to find out how low your Upstart rate can be to help pay off high-interest credit card debt. Unlike other lenders, Upstart can reward you based on your education and job history in the form of a smarter rate. You don't need a degree or diploma to apply, though. Upstart lets you skip going to the bank because it's completely online. They offer loans from $1,000 to $50,000, so you can consolidate your debt into one easy fixed-rate payment. Upstart makes it fast and simple to check your rate. Since it's just a soft pull, it won't affect your credit score. The hard pull happens if you accept your rate and proceed with your application. The best part, if the loan is approved and accepted, most people get their funds the very next business day. Over 400,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards or meet their financial goals. Free yourself from the burden of high interest credit card debt and get back to using your money your way with Upstart. See why Upstart has a 4.9 out of 5 rating on Trustpilot, and hurry up to upstart.com/KFGames to find out how low your Upstart rate can be. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes. That's upstart.com/KFGames. Your loan amount will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Not all applicants will qualify for the full amount. We're also brought to you by Doordash. Between never-ending laundry cycles, and incoming emails, you've got plenty on your to-do list. Give yourself one less thing to worry about and let DoorDash take care of your next meal. Let me tell you, if you've been watching the video version of this show, you've been seeing me drink my Jamba Juice. That's right, my Orange Sea Booster, I believe is what it's called. It's a power booster or whatever they call it over there at Jamba Juice. I got this through DoorDash. So there you go. What better testimony I can give than that? Continue supporting restaurants in your community safely. There are thousands of restaurants open for delivery on DoorDash that need your patronage now more than ever. Support your favorite restaurants on DoorDash. You've counted on restaurants. Now they're counting on you. And while their dining rooms may be closed, they are still open for delivery with DoorDash. DoorDash is the app that brings you the food you're craving right now to your door. Ordering is easy. Open the DoorDash app, choose what you want to eat, and your food will be left safely outside your door, just like my Jamba Juice, with the new contactless delivery drop-off setting. With over 300,000 partners in the US, Puerto Rico, Canada, and Australia, you can support your local go-tos or choose from your favorite national restaurants like Chipotle, Wendy's, and the Cheesecake Factory. Many of your favorite local restaurants are still open for delivery. Just open the DoorDash app, select your favorite restaurant, and your food will be left at your door. DoorDash deliveries are now contactless to keep the communities we operate in safe. Right now, our listeners can get $5 off and zero delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code GAMES. That's $5 off and zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code GAMES. Don't forget, that's code GAMES, $5 off, DoorDash, all that good stuff. $5 and zero delivery fees on your first order, $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code GAMES. Lastly, brought to you by Bespoke. This fall, as you get back into the swing of things, Bespoke Post has brand new seasonal boxes of awesome collections for guys, guaranteed to upgrade your life. Let me tell you, Bespoke Post is awesome. Tim sent me the link to Bespoke Post a while ago, and I was shocked by how cool these box of awesomes are. They have different types of boxes. There was like a box I saw that was basically like a breakfast box, which allowed you to make pancakes and stuff. It's really cool. They got stuff like that. They got like awesome craft beers. They got cozy threads for you to rock. Bespoke Post is really cool. Bespoke Post only sends guys the best stuff every month, no matter what you're into. Box of Awesome has you covered. From style and grooming goods to barware, cooking tools, and outdoor gear, Box of Awesome has collections for every part of your life. Let me tell you, when Tim sent me the link, I immediately zeroed in on one box. The box was a box of shoes. I think they called it Suave or something like that. It was this cool pair of shoes, and I was like, I want that. And I got that. And let me tell you, it's tight. To get started, take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Your answers will help them pick the right box of awesome for you. They release new boxes every month across a ton of different categories. It's free to sign up, and you can skip a month or cancel at any time. Each box costs only $45, but has over $70 worth of gear inside. Get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com and enter code GAMES at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com, code GAMES for 20% off your first box. Now, Sancho, story number 5. Before the episode started, you hit me up. You're like, Bless, I got something special. I want to tell people what's on my mind. Sancho, what's on your mind?
Listen, man, one thing that's on my mind is I feel that there is a lack of PlayStation exclusive multiplayer games. For the longest time, PlayStation had the fire multiplayer games, Resistance Fallen Man, the Uncharted series, The Last of Us Factions. Let me say this right now from the loudest thing as possible. The Last of Us has a multiplayer mode called Factions, and it is amazing. It is the most underrated multiplayer of all time.
Sancho, I love you.
Listen,
I love you. You are right.
Listen to me right now. Xbox has Halo right now. Halo is going to be able to sell consoles. That's how strong a multiplayer experience is. Now, a lot of people are talking about, yes, there's going to be Call of Duty. There's going to be the Destinies. There's going to be Fortnite. There's going to be all those multiplayer excuses. But if you want to sell consoles, you need to have a banger of a multiplayer. And I'm telling you this right now, Blessing, there is amazing first-party studios out there like Guerrilla that made amazing games like Killzone. There's a Resistance Fallen Man. I think that's Insomniac, right? I might be wrong about that. The whole point I want to say is, listen, Naughty Dog, I love you, Naughty Dog. And I say this with the utmost respect. And I know Neil Druckmann is already teasing, the whole team's teasing that they have something special in regards to the multiplayer. And they might be something to do with The Last of Us Part 2 Factions. But and they already said this, that they already want to have a PlayStation exclusive multiplayer, that they want somebody out there to make this. But I'm telling you, we talked about it earlier. What's going to be the difference between selling some consoles to people that are on the fence? There's people out there that love multiplayer experiences. Be the one. Find one. PlayStation, please. Announce it. That's all I want. Announce what you're working on. And I don't care if it comes from Naughty Dog. We need exclusive multiplayer titles.
Now, did you used to stream Factions? Was Factions like a...
Yes.
Okay.
That is what built me. That's what built
I thought.
my career. That's what built my career. I made 500 videos on my YouTube channel on youtube.com/SanchoWest where I played Factions, man, and that's how got me into meeting Naughty Dog, going to their studios, streaming from them, doing all these kinds of things with Naughty Dog. Shout out to Eric Monticelli, the community manager at the time, kind of saw what I was doing. I could go on and on forever my history with Naughty Dog, but yes, that game in itself is the most underrated game of all time when it comes to multiplayer. And that if they announce Last of Us Part 2 Factions with some sort of, I know I'm going to say the word that everyone hates, Battle Royale, I'm telling you, people don't understand.
That's what I've been saying forever.
Listen, if people don't understand, if Naughty Dog decided that they're going to put the studio behind a Battle Royale experience, we're talking about the immersion, the combat system that it has in Part 2, which is in itself a masterpiece.
Listen mode.
The listening mode. There's so many things that when you would say, if Naughty Dog said, we're making a Battle Royale, and people are going to start hating on it immediately because people just hate on Battle Royales, but it will move the genre forward and it will be the most immersive, beautiful game, and it will be the scariest game that you've ever played. And that was it's on my mind. And now that I'm on this broadcast that I know a lot of devs listen to, I only say this with the utmost respect, and I know you have something cooking, and I'm excitingly waiting for it. And I'm just saying, in general, PlayStation needs to invest in more in the multiplayer. Maybe that there's numbers that showing that is not worth it. I know PlayStation All-Stars took a big hit. And I'm just saying that there's an audience out there that loves multiplayer games.
I get you on PSL UXOXO and fire Greg Miller somehow, because you were made after my own heart. I agree with everything you said 100,000%. Like Last of Us Factions is probably one of my favorite multiplayer modes, and I miss it. I know they said they're working on something. I want them to reveal it because I'm really excited for whatever it is. I hope they reveal it because Greg Miller sowed a seed of doubt in me a while ago where he was like, do you think that it's actually going to come out? And I'm like, oh man, now you mention it. Who knows? Because who knows, man? Naughty Dog, of course, they have so much success with single player. The Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2, like they don't need to make a multiplayer mode, right? No, like they don't. They've seen such critical and commercial success with what they've got going on. But man, are they good at it? Like man, was Last of Us Factions a good time? And I really want another one. Are you gonna play Ghost of Tsushima Legends?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna check that out. I mean, I've been waiting for the PlayStation 5 to jump into Ghost, because of all the loading and whatnot. I just want to be able to die over and again without waiting. But the whole thing is like, not only just Naughty Dog, Resistance, Fallen Man, Killzone, like those were some really strong titles. Even Mag was ahead of its time. You know what I mean? So like those kinds of, even like, oh my God, what's the game that came out at launch that was an amazing game where you had the ability to have different carriers? I will look this up, but you had the ability to turn to tank, you had the ability to be a foot soldier, you had the ability to be in a plane, and it was Capture the Flag, and it came out at launch, and they made a sequel to it that didn't really do well. But I'm just telling you, man, multiplayer experiences are awesome, and I will look this up because I need to.
Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong if you know what game that is.
Chad is saying Warhawk.
Yes, Warhawk. Oh my God, the amount of hours I put into Warhawk. If that game came out while they were streaming, the plays that I would have been making. But that's my whole point. Is I just feel like that multiplayer is an evergreen type of thing, and if you keep funding it, and I know that there's multiplayers a dime a dozen, and there's battle royales a dime a dozen, and they keep dying off quickly. But at the same time, if you put in a solid one and it's a PlayStation exclusive. And Rainbow Six Siege is a great title where it didn't have a hot start, but they invested in that, and Ubisoft invested in it, and it's a vibrant scene still today. So I'm just saying, man, that's all. I had to say it.
And that's what's on Sancho's mind.
Thank you so much, Sancho. Sancho, I'm really excited to see what Naughty Dog is working on for that multiplayer mode, but the announcement of that is probably just so far away. If I want to know what's coming out to mom and grop shops today, where would I look?
You look at the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Cut and Funny daily show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, we got Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition that arrives on Xbox Game Pass today. This week, triple rewards await GTA Online players in several time trials and a classic adversary mode. Plus, double rewards can be earned in special cargo cell missions. Plot of the Druid demo is out today on Steam. The Signifier launches today on PC and Mac, and then Dust Off Z comes out today on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. New dates: More Cred will launch as an Xbox console exclusive coming to Xbox Series S and X, and Xbox One with Xbox Game Pass, in addition to the Microsoft Store and Steam this December for $19.99 US. Streets of Kamurocho has been announced. It's Streets of Rage 2 meets Yakuza, and that's launching on October 17th on Steam. Golden Axe Reborn Prototype will be available on Steam from October 18th until October 19th. They Bleed Pixels is coming to Nintendo Switch on October 22nd. Atelier Ryza 2, Lost Legends, and The Secret Fairy is coming on January 26, 2021 to PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. And then lastly, Pretty Princess Party is coming to Nintendo Switch on December 3rd. Now it's time for your mail. Of course, you can write into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where you can get your questions read on the show, just like Austin M did. Austin M wrote in and said, "Good morning, KFGD crew. Are us PS5 digital version owners in trouble on day one? The only way of getting our games is online, and with how many people have pre-ordered, is there a chance that the servers are going to be swamped and could even crash, leaving us digital owners just sitting there with new tech that can't do anything? Is this just me overthinking? Thanks for all you guys do, Austin." Sancho, servers are never reliable, right? Servers are a fickle thing.
No, man. And you could kind of, simulate as many craziness is going to happen. You could simulate what they're going to do, but servers are bound to go down. At the same time, your internet connection could be throttled by as many of people logging in trying to do the thing. I would have to say, Austin, you're not overthinking it, man. We've seen it. Even just trying to buy your console, you were met with a lot of server issues on that side of things. Best Buy having issues, Walmart, Target. So yeah, you may be having some issues. So I wouldn't say don't expect to play. I have no evidence of this in a sense, like no concrete evidence, but expect to just play one title. Maybe these titles are gonna be so huge, they're gonna be like 50 gigs, 80 gigs. I don't know. I mean, already Warzone's like 250 gigs. So just know that, hey man, you might have to like fire it up and then walk away, go do something, go get your snacks, go use your DoorDash. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But don't expect to be right out the gate going. Even at the same time, you still got to download stuff. That's one thing a lot of people don't understand. Like physical discs, are cool. They have that, but you still have to have an internet connection to download whatever kind of updates. And I have a gut feeling that all these day one patches were going to go live as soon as it launches. So yeah, man, it's just that's what gaming is nowadays, man. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, there's a high probability that day one is going to be a mess, and like I don't think it's really like a doom and gloom thing. Like day one is just going to be day one, and like that's just the reality of it.
Yeah,
servers might suck for some games. Servers might suck on PSN. You might not be able to download certain games for whatever reason, or downloads might just take forever. For whatever reason, right? Because there's too many people trying to download things on the servers, and like that's just the reality of how it's going to go, really.
I just thought about something crazy. Was something crazy because there's people out there that build custom PCs, right? And they put your info in it and they put whatever you want on it and they like ship it out the door. What if there was a company that essentially they took your information, they got you buy a PlayStation from them, and they upload it with every single thing so that when you get it day one, it's already out the gate ready to roll with all the games, with all the patches, whatever you want.
I love it. That sounds like an amazing world to live in, honestly.
Yeah, that sounds kind of dope, right? Yeah, especially when the birthday gift comes around, it's like, hey, it's already preloaded with Call of Duty. That's kind of interesting.
Sancho, now it's time to squad up. Of course, this is where you write in, let us know what you're playing, and we squad you up with kind of funny best friends. Frankfurtter writes in with a squad up on Destiny on PC and says, "Good morning, Blessing and SanchoWest, and those lovely best friends. 1 year ago today, myself and Borzen00 started up a Destiny clan in Discord for PC kind of funny best friends. 1 year later, we're still going strong and have grown to 176 server members, a good amount lurk, but still a lot of active people. Destiny's new DLC is less than a month away, and while a good amount of us have already done what we can to max out our stats, we want to help those who may not be there and want to prep for the new DLC. If you're looking to prep for the new DLC, but may not know where to start, join us and we can help with that. If you're a PC player and aren't super interested in Destiny, but are looking for other people to play with, we have a room for you too. Last thing I want to say is thank you to Kinda Funny. A lot of people that Boris and myself have met have become amazing friends and have helped not only us, but a lot of others through the past year. Thank you for creating a community that lives up to the moniker Best Friend. If you want to play Destiny with Frankfurter, or at least just join the Discord server, you can join the server with the link discord.gg/TurboTax in space. That's discord.gg/TurboTax in space. Now it's time for kindafunny.com/you're wrong. We write in and let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong. Nanobiologist wrote in and mentioned that Sony hasn't talked about their quick resume feature yet, which blows my mind that hasn't been talked about yet. But I guess we'll see on that one. Benji Bob says Discord and Microsoft have a cross-marketing deal with Game Pass and Nitro, but that's it.
Okay. It leaves the door open for PlayStation to have that app that we're talking about. I think an app would be actually a great kind of band-aid to the solution that we're talking about.
Charles Jacobson wrote in and mentioned that Astro's Playroom comes pre-installed, which isn't like a year wrong, but cool to point out that there's gonna be one game pre-installed on the PS5.
So there you go, Austin. You can just hang out in the Astro Playroom, man.
And then DH Ruvinator writes in. It says Miss News, so I wouldn't really call this Miss, but they mentioned that the Cyberpunk Vehicles trailer is up and that we should react to it. I'll let you know we did react to it. If you go to youtube.com/kindafunnygames, we have our Cyberpunk Night City Wire reactions. We watched the whole thing. Me, Tim, Andy, and Greg.
I have a kindafunny.com/you're wrong for that person. We already fucking did it. Keep up, boys. Keep up.
Keep up, boys. Keep up.
Keep up with that content.
That is it for kindafunny.com/you're wrong. And I guess while we're here, I should mention that, Night City Wire reaction is up. You should go watch that. We also reacted to the PlayStation 5 UI reveal. That's also, I don't know if it's up already or if it's going up on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, but you can look forward to it there. Tomorrow's hosts for the show are Greg Miller and Elaine Gomez. Before I sign off, Sancho, where can people find you and keep up with you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/SanchoWest. You can keep up with me on Twitter at the same name as SanchoWest, or Instagram, and of course, TikTok. And I'm going to let everybody out there know, if you want to grow your streaming profile or your streaming audience, TikTok's a great place to start. They always say the best thing to grow on Twitch is one of the hardest platforms to grow on is to bring an audience over. So if you could grow on outside platforms and bring it into your Twitch, that's amazing. But I want to thank all you guys at Kinda Funny for inviting me. When I got the email from Greg, I was blown away that I will be on this important week for you guys, Hispanic Heritage Month. It means a lot to me to be highlighted alongside with other awesome Latino peers. And yeah, man, it's really dope. I mean, for all this stuff that's happening in 2020 and whatnot, I think we're gonna close out the year strong. And one of the things that I noticed, and I want to be very quick about this, is when the Lakers won the championship, right? The NBA Lakers.
Oh yeah, we're taking a left turn. I like this.
We're taking a hard left turn here. Okay, hard left. Buckle up. So at the beginning of the year, of course, Kobe Bryant died. Right, that really affected me because I live in Los Angeles. It was really close to where I was, and it kind of showed like 2020 was already a sucky year. Like, wow, Kobe Bryant, one of the best in the world, died. And to show that no matter all that, at the end of the day, that the Lakers won the championship. So I tweeted this already. Even though 2020 started off bad, and there's a lot of bad things that's happening, at the end, you could still win. So we could still win in 2020.
That's very good. That's very good. Sancho, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily. We got to reunite again just to talk about Last of Us Factions. We got to maybe play it because the servers are still up for it, right? They haven't taken it down yet.
Absolutely. And they're popping, dude. You getting games instantly. You can play all night long. And it's not like where they're just filled with people that just overrun you. There's a thing called you can non-party up, and you could kind of get yourself in there. Of course, watch my YouTube guides, man. They're like 7 years old, but you can watch them. They still vibing.
I'm gonna tell you, I would be down. Maybe this is a like a future thing we do on Kinda Funny Games. I'm down to do a Last of Us Faction stream on Kinda Funny. Like that sounds like a great time. And honestly, if you're on our team, you're probably gonna be getting all the kills, and I don't mind. Like as long as I'm on your team, I'm good.
It's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah. So let's do that. Of course, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. We have a Patreon post show for those that are subbed at the silver level of patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. So stick around for that. Otherwise, till next time, game daily.